Crossing the bridge over to reality. Walk and talk number 6. The soul. The characteristics of the soul. What the soul is. So, we've already gone over what the body is and what the spirit is. We will do more videos, in-depth videos on especially aspects of the spirit. But this video, we're going to talk about the soul and what the soul is. Before we go there, I just want to say that there is absolutely no one out there telling you these things in such plain and simple form. Of course, most religious texts tell you these things, but they don't tell you in very simple form. They don't tell you what the difference is between the spirit and the soul. They say you have them, but they don't really tell you what they are. And you've got all of those people out there who claim to be speaking truth, and none of them have told you what the spirit and the soul are. And you'd think that's pretty important. So, the soul. Remember from the first video and throughout, from what you are to the walk and talk about the body and the walk and talk about the spirit, you're 2 horses pulling a carriage carrying the driver. The driver knows where. The 2 horses are symbolic of your spirit. The carriage is symbolic of your body. And the driver is symbolic of your soul. So, the soul is fire and air. Remember I told you the spirit is water and air. The elements water and air. The soul is fire and air. The soul is the only reason that anything else exists at all in any life form, and every life form's got a soul. It's the unique essence in all life forms. So in a plant, I told you that the spirit of a plant is its alcohol content. That's why we call alcohol spirits. But you can extract the spirits from all plants, any plant in fermentation. When it's separating, or what you call dying, it releases its spirit, and that's what we bottle. That's what humans bottle and drink. But the soul of a plant, Bruce has gone for something again. No, nothing. And the soul of a plant is its oil, unique essence. It's oil, is the oil in a plant. So we can get 10 plants of the same species, like 10 nettles or any plant, 10 of the same species, the same type of plant, and we can extract the oil from those plants. And when the oil is extracted, we can bottle each plant's oil, even though they're exactly the same plant or exactly the same flower or whatever, and every single plant has oil, has its unique essence, has a soul. So we can extract the oil from a plant, and we can put that oil into bottles, each bottle being for that specific plant of the same species. Now, you and I wouldn't be able to smell the difference, but Bruce would. Bruce would be able to smell that one oil smells different to the other oil, and the other oil smells different to the other oils, because each oil is unique to that plant. That's the soul of a plant. And the soul of a human being is similar. It's your uniqueness, your unique essence. It's that quiet little driver sitting in the carriage And for most people, being ran ragged down crazy roads by them horses that are addicted and think they are really the driver, with all their addictions and attachments to this physical world. So the soul, as far as I'm aware, upon separation of a human or animal, upon separation, the soul ejects immediately. The separation, whenever I use the word separation, it's what you call or know as death. I don't call it death, I call it separation. So when somebody dies, it takes 3 days for the 2 horses, for the spirit to evaporate and detach from the carriage. But the driver immediately ejects, immediately gets out of the carriage. Now where that driver goes, I'm not 100% sure. And like I say, I either know something or I don't know it. And in this case, I don't know it, so I don't know where the soul goes. All I know is that it ejects immediately. And what I can tell you, all I can tell you is what I sense happens to the soul is that it returns back to the well of all souls. The body stays here, the spirit stays here. The body becomes food for the earth, and the spirit gets recycled. The spirit doesn't fly off to Zeta Reticuli or the Pleiades. No, let's stay on the earth, shall we? Let's keep everything on the earth. Like I say, people speak a lot about the universe, but no one's ever seen the universe. So how can they speak about the universe? Yes, it's pathetic. That's what it is. But we've all seen a plant die, we've all seen animals die, we've all seen animals and life here. I mean, it's pretty remarkable, isn't it, life here? All living things are pretty remarkable. So the soul is your unique essence. It's the key reason for any life form. Without a soul, it's pointless. What's the point of 2 horses and a carriage if it doesn't have a driver? Exactly. And that carriage might look like other carriages, and those 2 horses might look like other horses, other people's 2 horses, other spirits. But that driver looks absolutely like nothing else. Now I call what other people call God, I call it the great artist. Because I mean, look around us. Don't you just see artwork of the finest caliber? Intelligent design and artwork in all life. And I see that artwork. And the artwork, in order for this artwork to be, in order for any of these lives to be, each one of these lives need a soul, need a driver. Now, let me go back again, because I'm quite good at that, at talking on one subject and then skipping to another, and you'll have to forgive me for that. It's just the way I am. But let's go back. So what happens when you die is your soul immediately ejects, and as far as I'm aware, I don't know for sure, but the soul returns to the well of all souls. Now, if I was going to describe what the well of all souls looks like, you can imagine the great artist, or what many of you call God. He's holding a big bucket of clear paint, of a transparent clear paint. A bucket that looks like it's full of water. It's got no colour, no tinge. And what that great artist does is he launches all of that clear, transparent liquid out of the bucket at a canvas. And each one of the droplets, the tiny little specks of that clear liquid, as it's flying through the air in motion, about to hit the canvas as it's flying through the air towards the canvas that it's going to hit, that bucket of clear, transparent paint, each one of those droplets of water, countless numbers of them, is a soul. And what colour that droplet, what colour each droplet decides to be when it hits the canvas, if it wants to look like a cow poo, or if it wants to look like a beautiful purple, or it wants to look a beautiful, whatever beautiful colour it chooses, when it hits the canvas as it's flying through the air, that unique droplet soul has a choice what colour it wants to be when it hits the canvas. That's known as free will. So when we die, the driver gets off of the car instantly, immediately ejects, and goes back to that bucket of souls, that bucket of clear liquid. Body's been thrown out to be thrown out again. Like I say, my description there of what the great artist is and what souls are is a very good description. The only thing that I don't know for certain is exactly what happened, where the soul goes upon death. I know what happens upon death, but I don't know where that soul goes exactly. I've just given you an idea of what it is that I sense, where I sense that it goes. So the soul is your uniqueness. The soul shows through in your body with your biometric data. It's probably why you've got all of those sorcerers out there really interested in your biometric data right now, so they can clock each soul, right? I mean, they've already distorted people's spirits with the television programming and the food supply and the jabs and everything else we've been going through the last few hundred years. They've been disrupting the spirit, and once the spirit is like the firewall for the soul, it's the protection for the soul, and once that spirit is distracted, the soul is taken. The soul then is free game. Oh, Rooski Roo. So the spirit is quite important, but not as important as the soul. You see, I would say out of the three elements of what we are, the most important and sole purpose for all living life forms is number one is the soul. Number two would be the spirit. And number three would be the body. So you could say the driver's most important. Then the horses are most important, because if you think about it, a driver can still ride a horse even without a carriage. And then you've got the body, the carriage. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm making it as clear as I can to you. Like I say, there's no one else out there that gives you the details of what these three parts of all life are as clearly as what I'm giving it to you. I didn't get this information from a third party or anyone else. I got this information through hardcore study, long periods of being a hermit, what you'd call a hermit, the studies of all philosophies, all alchemy texts, most religious texts. What else can I tell you about the soul? Your unique fingerprints are depictions on your physical body of what the soul is. Your iris. Where does the soul reside in the body? It's a quiet little subtle driver with the most power. It's the only part of you that has connection back to that bucket of paint that the great artist is holding. That bucket of transparent paint. That's how beautiful the soul is. People can have People can be possessed, but they will still have the driver, their driver. It can't. Another soul can't come out of a human body and go into another one. A spirit can do that. A human spirit can come out of a human, go into another, or go out of an animal, or just be lost, bodiless, and enter a human being. But the soul can't work that way. The soul just is. And as I said in previous videos, I told you what gender, the aspects of the body are, what gender the body is, and what gender the spirit is. Well, the gender of the soul is neither male or female. So it's quite interesting, right? You've got a physical body that's either male or female. You've got a spirit, which is both male and female. And then you've got a soul, which is neither male or female. It just is. If you just had a soul, for example, which is impossible, but if you, down here it's impossible, but if you just had a soul, that soul would just be static like this, observing. It would be just like this. If you had a soul and a body and no horses, you'd probably be like this. A sack of salt on the floor, just like that. And if you've got a soul, a spirit and a body, then look at Bruce. He's got a soul, a spirit and a body, and that's what makes him animate. That's what gives him animation. That's what gives him movement, fluidity. The spirit, of course. The soul has no dealings with those. It's about shutting down them horses, really. Life is about shutting down them horses, shutting them up. Making sure that they're put in their place and that they don't think that they are the soul themselves. In order to obtain a soulful experience, which people pay thousands and thousands of dollars for. They go and sit in ashrams, or they go and sit in meditation for lengthy periods of time just to experience a minute, one moment of with their soul. Normally, people, if you look around today, you can see people aren't very soulful. They're very spiritual. Oh, what a bad word spiritual is. Oh, I'm spiritual. I believe in the mind, the spirit, the body and the soul. Well, the mind and the spirit are the same thing. The mind and the spirit are the same thing. If somebody's talking about the mind, they're talking about the spirit. If somebody's talking about the spirit, they're talking about the mind. We've gone over that. We've gone over that. This is just a quick description and explanation of what the soul is. So now you know. Now you know exactly what you are. What you do with this knowledge is completely up to you. We're going to talk a lot more on so many different topics in the future. I remember I said in my first walking talk, wasn't it? I said, oh, if I get 100 subscribers on any channel, I will do walking talks. No, I enjoy doing these walking talks. And the information I'm putting out there is valuable. But what I will do with once I get 100 subscribers on any of my channels, I will take questions and answer your questions. I'll take questions and I'll answer your questions on any of the topics that I've covered. I've given you a lot of knowledge just in these last 6 walking talks. Told you what the spirit is, the soul is. Told you what you are. told you what enlightenment and illumination is and what the difference is. I've told you what's going to happen. I told you about the apocalypse and what's going to happen there. You won't find this information anywhere else. You'll only find this information at SINE Project. All of the other people that are out there claiming to tell the truth, they're spreading fear and anxiety. They're telling people, oh, you know, it's going to be total control of the world. We're all going to be locked in a digital prison. And yeah, but you know, it's impossible to do that to the soul. They can take biometric data and stuff, but they've got to store that, and then they've got to hope that the servers they store it on make it through the fire and flood. And I doubt that's going to happen. I think what people need to understand is, I mean, look at this place. Look in there. Everything in there is functioning perfectly. Everything in there is operating perfectly. Nature has got it down perfectly. Do you not think that the great artist, with his incredible artwork here, do you not think that perhaps the great artist made different fail-safe mechanisms in order to prevent people, idiotic, weak people, from obtaining, from corrupting his artwork? Do you know, if an evil person, or I say an evil, there's no such thing as good and evil. If a weak person goes into that jungle, and what I mean by weak is someone who's incapable of abstaining from temptation. If all those kids, all the people that hurt children and stuff, they're not evil. Evil is too strong a word for them. They're just weak, and they're incapable of refraining from temptation, right? So, if they walked in there, these weak individuals took a walk into this jungle, there'd be food for the jungle. The jungle would eat them in probably, they wouldn't last a day. They wouldn't last a day. You put someone in there that's strong, respectful, and able to abstain from temptation. There's my beautiful birds again, they've heard me. Woo, woo, woo. I love them so much. Anyway, so if a strong person goes in there, we can like myself, I would deem myself as a strong person because I know that I know what I've gone through. I know what I've done to do the work. I've really done the work. I've sacrificed everything, and I'm prepared to sacrifice myself for something greater than me. I don't have any fallings to temptation of a negative kind or a weak kind. I'm a strong individual, and I can go in there. Bruce and I can go in there. The longest we've spent in there is 2 weeks alone. Do you know most of the Indigogos? The Indigogos are the indigenous people that reside here. Do you know most of them have not spent as long in that jungle alone as Bruce and I have? Because they're scared. They're scared. Most of them are scared of spirits. I'm too busy to I love these birds so much. I really love them. One day I'm going to cut a little trail in to see them properly. Woo, woo, woo. You know, they're happier today because the sun's out. Usually if it's raining, they won't be so happy. So before I'm come to collect my water again, to be honest. I've come to collect my water, and so I'm going to leave shortly, but end this video shortly. But before I do so, let's just give you a quick summary, right? So the soul is the driver in the cart being pulled by the two horses. The soul is neither male or female, it just is. The soul's elements are fire and air. Upon death, the soul immediately evacuates or immediately ejects from the body and goes back to the well of all souls as far as I'm aware. The soul is the #1 reason why you even have a body and a spirit in the first place. The spirit just allows the soul to walk around like I'm walking around now and be fluid and animate, and the body gives the soul something to be carried in. Yeah, and that's it. That's what the soul is. You've got to find out what your soul purpose is. You've got to find out what that driver in the carriage, you've got to find out exactly what his soul purpose is, what your soul purpose is. No one else in this world has a soul like yours. It's unique. It's your unique essence. In a plant, the unique essence of a plant is its oil. So the oil in a plant is its soul, or a good demonstration of what a soul is in the plant kingdom. And all life has a soul, except for some of the artificial things that they're making. They're probably soulless, and their spirits are probably the spirits. Like, for example, some of the artificial human beings out there that are operating, as we know they don't have a soul. What they have is an artificial spirit, and what I mean by an artificial spirit, that spirit has either been modified in a laboratory, or it's been taken from a body. It's been a bodiless spirit in form before, i.e. lost, and the sorcerers at the top have managed to take that bodiless lost spirit and put it into physical bodies which have been lab grown, like the lab grown meat they're going to feed us. Well, they won't be feeding me, because we eat right from here, don't we, Bruce? Oh yeah. So yeah, that's what I'll give you on the soul. Thanks for watching. Be blessed. Be kind. Say goodbye, Rooski Roo. Say bye-bye, Rooski Roo. Oh, Rooski. Oh, Rooski. Say goodbye, birds. Woo, woo.